Lesson 1.2 Needs and Importance of Editorial Page. The main role of editorials is to allow the editors, people who proofread and choose which article get in the paper, to express their opinions about something. Usually, they talk about something going on in the local, regional, state, or international news. Sometimes they respond to criticisms sent in by readers. It is editorial page by which we can express our opinions to the readers. An editorial page is very important. It is an opinion piece written by the senior editorial staff or publisher of a newspaper or magazine or any other written documents. Editorials may be supposed to reflect the opinion of the periodical. A newspaper publishes its views on current events, both local and national, on its editorial page. This is where letters to the editor, political cartoons, and editorials, unsigned commentaries that reflect the collective position of the newspaper's editorial board appear. Letters are often among the best read section of any newspaper, for this is where readers express their opinions. Some newspapers limit their letters to a certain number of words, maybe 150 or 300, while others publish letters of virtually any length. Editorials are not news, but rather reasoned opinion based on facts. For example, editorials may criticize the performance of public officials such as the mayor, the police chief, or the local school board. Conversely, editorials may praise others for their civic contributions. Whatever the topic is, newspapers hope their editorials will raise the level of community discourse. Editorial page is the one daily section of a newspaper that always voices an opinion. Unlike news articles, editorials are allowed to be for or against decisions of government, choose favorites in elections, and take a stand in debates on public issues. The editorial page is not only allowed to take a stand, it's supposed to take a stand. That is its role. News writers are supposed to report all sides. Editorial writers get to take sides. News writers get in trouble if they say what they favor or oppose. Editorial writers get in trouble if they don't. On the editorial page, readers of the paper get to take a stand as well in letters to the editor. It's a great conversation between the paper and its readers. It's unique to democratic societies. Why newspapers need editorials? In ancient Roman cities, the forum was a public square or marketplace where people gathered for judicial activity and public business. The modern editorial page provides such a place for discourse. The editorial stimulates debate and dialogue. It is the newspaper's participation in its community. It is what post-editorial editor Fred Hyatt calls a great conversation between the paper and its readers. Today, readers expect news articles to be free of opinion. Citizens wanting to be informed expect a fair presentation of the facts. If they want to know a point of view, readers go to the editorials in a separate section of the newspaper. Explain to students the different purpose of news and editorial sections. Early newspapers were partitioned, often expressing only the point of view of the owners. News accounts were at times indistinguishable from fiction. In the middle of the 19th century, opinion and commentary moved to the editorial page. Horace Greeley is considered the father of the modern American editorial page. The New York Tribune publisher made his paper a national voice against slavery. According to the News History Gazette, in 1862, Greeley's editorial, Prayer of 20 Millions, implores President Lincoln to set slaves free. Lincoln is moved to answer personally, even though he writes that his goal is not to save or destroy slavery, but to save the Union. Lincoln signs the Emancipation Proclamation soon after. In the 1920s, professional journalism took a step backwards with the tabloids and yellow journalism sensationalizing or creating news. The 1920s were also the era in which news magazines such as Time were beginning and the canons of journalism was adopted. The American Society of Newspaper Editors 1922 Statement of Principles encouraged ethical and professional performance. ASNE's most recent code of ethics states, editorials, analytical article, and commentary should be held to the same standards of accuracy with respect to facts as news reports. How to write an editorial. Editorials are a form of persuasive writing. Give students the reproducible how to write an editorial. A structural approach to organize editorials is given. Give students building an editorial argument. How to write an editorial page. When you need an editorial, you expect to know the publication's point of view. It stand on an issue, a situation, an action, or a person. You don't want unfounded opinion. You want the editorial to be the product of thought, interviews, and research. How you can write such a piece of persuasion. Select a topic. Editorials need to be topical. Does your school have new programs, equipment, or rules? What issues are students discussing? What should students be doing? Who or what has been overlooked? Report and research. Washington Post editorial page editor Fred Hyatt says that much of writing an editorial is reporting. Editorial writers talk to experts and interview people involved in the issues. It is important to know the topic from many perspectives. Take a stand. You know your topic. You have done your background work. Now, list the supporting arguments and the opposing arguments. Rank these arguments from most to least effective. Decide what your main idea is. Word your thesis as an arguable statement. Be specific. Your stand should be clear to your readers. Concede. Even though it is not the news section, fairness is important. Hayat says, fairness and good argumentation are reflected in giving consideration to the other side of an issue. It is fair to select the strongest argument rather than the weakest argument of the opposite point of view. It is also good to acknowledge that another viewpoint exists. So, demonstrate how your idea is better. The process forces everyone to sharpen his or her thinking. Argue persuasively. Select the 3 strongest arguments for your position. List them from good to better to best argument. You want your readers to remember your last argument. What will your editorial do? Persuade. Encourage your readers to act or to seek a solution. Provide convincing arguments and solutions. Explain or interpret. Help readers to understand a complex, controversial, or sensitive situation or action. What does legislation or a recent vote mean for your school? Why are student government officers asking students to get involved in certain activities? Criticize. Point out problems and concerns. Be constructive, not petty. Select issues, decisions, and situations that are adversely influencing the school environment and students' well-being. Praise. Don't always complain. Find a person or activity that should be recognized for benefiting your community. If you try to persuade the administration to take certain action and they did respond, praise them.